This is the 1979-1980 girls basketball team, the Hoop Pack. And as Coach Kevin McLaughlin recalled, they added credence to the idea that you never underestimate your opponent. This team was Watertown High's 1980 girls basketball squad, which reached goals that year before the season would have been laughed off by anyone. This squad believed in itself, and it believed in its dream. One local reporter summed it up this way: the squad proved that hustle and heart have a lot to do with winning. The dream begins with players, and of course, the Raiders were hardly running on empty in this regard. The team was led by no fewer than 3 Hall of Famers in senior Lisa Yankowski and juniors Paula Pomponi and Mary Duffy. And they had plenty of backup, from senior Sheila Quinn and Denise Nugent to junior standouts Eileen Coffin, Leslie Horn, Ann Donnelly, Judy Kalashin, and Lynn Clancy to sophomores Josephine Hanlon, Nancy McNicholas, Janine Haggerty, and Pam Clancy. You look a little younger then, didn't you, kids? In a typical game, everyone played and 10 people scored. There were individual honors to be highlighted, to be sure. Yankowski was the team's high scorer with nearly 15 points, contributed 10 rebounds and 4 steals per game. In one contest versus Reading, Lisa notched a triple-double with 23 points, 19 boards, and 11 steals. Duffy chipped in with 10 points a game, and Leslie Horn was in double figures both in points and rebounds. Pomponi was a gutsy defensive spark plug at the point. And although it was about the team as a unit, not about individuals, the team had character and never went into a matchup willing to accept defeat. Our banners read, "A little bit of heart," Coach McLaughlin recalls. No team ever had more heart, and that's what made it so special. Special they were. The team posted a strong 13-5 regular season against a tough Middlesex League schedule. They got strong efforts and wins when they most needed them, yet they entered the state tournament as decided underdogs, seeded 13th. Playing with nothing to lose, they didn't. In the first round, it came and went when Methuen High was dispatched 45-38 behind a dozen points from Yankowski and 14 from Coffin. Next up was Concord Carlisle, seeded 5th. Here, too, in a tremendous defensive struggle, the Raiders prevailed. The Watertown zone held the Patriots to 32 points, with Pomponi and Pam Clancy shutting down the guard spots and Horn battling inside. All year, the team had proved they could play with the best, and now they were proving they could beat them. And in that magical third-round matchup, that's exactly what happened. Undefeated Peabody, 20-0. Greater Boston League champs and the second-ranked team in Massachusetts. The gymnasium packed to the rafters, and a special reserve bleacher section open to accommodate the hordes of Raider fans. And the squad didn't disappoint. Down by 9 points in the second quarter, the team chipped away until finally Watertown had the lead after critical baskets by Duffy and Yankowski, who poured in 20 points overall. Peabody crawled back to tie the score with 5 minutes to go, but the Raiders stepped it up. Key defensive stops were made, key free throws were made, and at the final buzzer, Watertown had won by 6. The fans stormed the court in wild celebration, and one reporter found the whole affair so emotional as to be a bit reminiscent of Lake Placid. The Raiders found themselves at the pinnacle in the Division North Finals against undefeated and top-ranked Salem. Going into the championship game, the Boston Globe commented wryly that Watertown has left all opponents wondering what rock they forgot to look under. Trailing by just 5 at the half, gutsy Watertown never gave up, but in the end, Salem was simply too strong, but it had been a great season for the team and for the community. Coach McLaughlin said in classic understatement, the team had certainly surprised some people. But Salem coach Tim Shea gave due credit to the Raiders' amazing effort and to their special ingredient, something inside. While the Raiders received the Division I runner-up award, there seemed clear consensus that in terms of spirit and heart, the team had won a championship. Ladies and gentlemen, the coach of the 1979-80 team, head coach Kevin McLaughlin.
Okay, yeah, thanks a lot. For those of you who are wondering, this hat is so that the reflection doesn't get to you. So, when I was first told that I would be given the opportunity to say a few things on behalf of the team, I thought, well, that should be easy. Of course, the next part was that I should try to be as brief as possible. And my next thought was, wow, that's not going to be easy. In any case, it's probably impossible for me to extol the virtues of this team, so I may as well proceed and try not to mess up your memories or your dinner too much. It pleases me a great deal that this organization has decided to honor our hoop pack as the first girls team to be inducted. I cannot think of a more fitting or appropriate team to represent the values of this community of hard-working, diligent, and loyal residents. It is apparent that you appreciate what we accomplished in 1980. It's also apparent that you understand that this was a team of extraordinary character and determination. The power of the experience of being part of the hoop pack was so intense that I can still remember events and practices, games, and even individual conversations as if they were yesterday. And our little reunion tonight has clearly shown that, eh, Mary? Pam, you've got to be careful, by the way. We had a discussion about you, and they know things. I know. I remember some things, actually a lot of things. I remember Nancy looking afraid to be with us. I remember Lynn sometimes screaming in frustration. Josephine in her boiled steak. Pam, well, she was our greyhound. Anne could get so red-faced from effort that she could hardly speak. Janine, who may have been the best athlete, but didn't always know what to do with it. Paula, who drove the opposition completely bonkers. Mary, who had more fun than any of us. Judy, who got all those rebounds from the weirdest angles. Beanie, who could do so many things and usually had to. Leslie, who was our enforcer and who cleaned up most of our defensive mistakes. Denise, who probably cared more than anybody. Sheila, who really could shoot the ball. And finally, Lisa, who was the flakiest, but she was the genuine basketball article, and at times she carried all of us. Not to mention, of course, an assistant coach that every day made me smile and made it a joy to work with. Of course, I do remember so much more, but as I said, I'm going to try to be brief. Individually, we wouldn't have won many one-on-ones, but the hoop pack was never about individuals' egos. We had a collective ego, and we won foremost because losing was simply unacceptable, and we always had a stronger will than our opponent. Selfish thoughts never entered anyone's minds. No one ever made excuses to try to put blame on someone else. I have never experienced a team that expected or demanded more from each other than this team. There is an expression in sports that refers to a fear of failure. I can assure you that these ladies were afraid of nothing. Well, maybe just a little bit apprehensive about a practice after a game that we didn't play too well in, but otherwise they were afraid of nothing. They absolutely lived to compete, and we really love competing together. It's terrific that the hoop pack is being remembered here tonight. 18 years ago, a day didn't go by that I wasn't immensely proud to be part of the pack. To this day, it remains one of the great and positive experiences in my life. I just recently started coaching again, and you know, if I could turn back the clocks, I'd take back this team in a heartbeat. I'd guarantee you something, too. I'd guarantee you that we do whatever it takes to win. Boy, am I a geek. I'd also guarantee that you'd be proud of these ladies. And finally, I'd guarantee that the opposition would learn what the heart of a champion is.